In this episode, the Dogs of the Wind will take you from Johannesburg through the mists of Witbank and the winding mountain roads of Mpumalanga all the way through to Malalaan Gate for another visit to the Kruger National Park. This time, we explore the southern section of the park with 7 nights in Berg-en-Dal Rest Camp and 2 in Pretoriuskop. This is the section of the park known for its abundance of large herbivores and predators like wild dogs, leopards and lions, and the occasional lion traffic jam. Like all Kruger camps, Berg-en-Dal offers top-quality bush TV right in the campsite, with all kinds of small creatures on your doorstep. Keep your food safely stowed away from the vervet monkeys though. Luckily, the camp has been designed to keep the marauding baboons out as much as possible, but be wary nonetheless. You'll also be visited by squirrels, large families of dwarf mongooses, and a variety of birds. The camp is beautiful and spacious, with plenty of wilderness right inside the campsite itself. There is a walking trail known as the Rhino Trail around the perimeter of the camp. Along the way, you'll see plenty of interesting living creatures, including bushbuck, and closer to the reception office and shop, you'll find information boards about the birds, animals, and trees of the park. On one of our strolls past the dam, we added the striated heron to our bird list, and at dusk we spotted a civet on the other side of the fence, and the shining orange eyes reveal the presence of plenty of bush babies. At reception, you can find the Rhino Museum, where you can learn all about rhinos and their long, tumultuous history with humans, as they have been hunted to near extinction many times. But, through great efforts by many dedicated people, the species still persists today. Stories and legends of rhino abound, but one of our favorites is an Ndebele tale. Once, elephant and rhino got into a fight. Although Rhino fought bravely, his hide was left battered and torn by elephant's great tusks. Rhino found Porcupine and asked to borrow one of her best quills to use as a needle to stitch up his torn skin. He promised to return the quill the next day, but after he had sewn up his wounds, the scars of which are still visible to this day, he couldn't find the quill. He remembered holding the quill in his mouth and thought he must have swallowed it. This is why Rhino spreads his tongue. He is searching for the lost porcupine quill to this very day. Also in the Rhino Hall, there is a lovely bird mural above you, which you can use to test your bird identification skills. But of course, nothing beats being out on the road with tea, coffee, and binoculars at the ready, where you never know what you might find around the next bend. On a recommendation from my cousins, we headed along the S118 and were almost immediately greeted by a pair of rose eagle owls, the largest owls in South Africa. The S118 is a beautiful river road known for Big Five sightings, and we didn't wait long before we spotted a mating pair of lions and a herd of elephants. Along the Mlambane River, we found a low-level crossing where friendly terrapins came to investigate our vehicle, probably in search of food. No matter how friendly some animals seem, please do not feed them, as it causes them to be a danger to themselves or the guests in the park. On our way back to camp, we found the terrapin's unlucky tortoise cousin in the mouth of a hungry hyena. In the afternoon, we were treated to a sighting of some bull elephants drinking at the Matulu waterhole. Among them were two particularly magnificent ancient bulls with impressive tusks.
Yes, we did get out at 6.
6 o'clock.
Yes.
It isn't uncommon to see lions just outside of camp in the mornings and evenings, but even if the lions are scarce, the rocky hills in the area are breathtaking and the area is teeming with wildlife. As always, we saw plenty of birds and small creatures like this chameleon. Seeing a chameleon crossing the road may be your best chance to spot one of these well-camouflaged reptiles. We waited patiently, guarding the road while it slowly crossed. We were also lucky enough to spot this cobra slithering across the road. It is likely a snouted cobra. Thank you to Vulture from Avrika YouTube channel for helping us identify it. Another worthwhile photographic location is the Biamiti Weir on the S114. Here, you can look across the water at eye level. Apart from a saddle-billed stork and some pied kingfishers, it was quiet, but we did attempt some long exposure photos of the hammerkops in the running water. Klipspringers are incredible climbers who always work in pairs so that one may forage while the other looks out for danger. The southern section of Kruger really is the place to see game, but of course the most exciting sightings are of those creatures with big teeth and claws, and we saw predators aplenty. In fact, we saw lions almost every day. Even though we thought we had plenty of time to make it back to the gate one evening, this little lion cub caused a traffic jam that delayed us by over half an hour. An interesting fact is that mating lions often do not move far during the day. They will mate for a minute or two and then rest. They will continue in this pattern for a couple of days without food or water. It seemed to be the season, as this was not the only pair we found on this trip. Although we saw plenty of lions, we caught only 2 brief glimpses of leopard, one of which we caught on film. We had many close calls where the leopard was in the road for a second and then disappeared just before we arrived. The predator that really puts on a show is undoubtedly the wild dog. Also known as painted dogs, particularly in Zimbabwe, they have suffered a bad rap from early colonial farmers, and they were hunted indiscriminately, reducing their range to a few pockets of protected areas. Wild dogs are wanderers, often moving exceptionally far in a day to find food and to stay safe. They are often overpowered by large predators, so they move swiftly and quietly, communicating with squeaks and yips. Another area known for wild dogs is Pretoriuskop, where we spent 2 nights camping. Here we found a pack of wild dogs feasting on a kill, but the excitement only ramped up when the vultures started to land for a feeding frenzy.
And we were extremely lucky. We saw wild dog on a kill, and when they moved off, then the vultures moved in and we got to watch them for a while, and it was a very productive morning.
We noted the uncommon white-headed vulture amongst the many white-backed and cape vultures, but what caused a major stir was the landing of the lappet-faced vulture, the largest vulture, which specializes in eating skin, tendon, and ligaments, usually breaking the carcass open for the smaller vultures to feast. Pretoriuskop is the oldest camp in Kruger, established in 1928, with the highest altitude and wettest climate. The camp is one of the less popular camps, as the game viewing is known to be more difficult due to the dense bush and tall grass. The area is still very lovely to take a drive around, with sweeping vistas and tall granite domes. Pretoriuskop is also the start of the Jock of the Bushveld Trail, documenting the travels of Jock and his owner through Kruger. Jock of the Bushveld is a much-loved children's story of a plucky runt of the litter who served his owner, Sir James Percy Fitzpatrick, well through their adventures in the 1800s. Spanning a journey from Leidenburg through Kruger to Barberton, it is a story of gentle, fierce and loyal companionship. Near Pretoriuskop on the main road towards Gakuza are the Shitlave and Transport dams. They are lovely dams to visit in the morning and evening golden hours, as they afford clear views across the water to whatever comes to visit. The next morning, we were caught in a mating lion traffic jam yet again, but we chose to move along to Shitlave Dam and we were rewarded. We'll let the footage speak for itself.
Well, that was an interesting morning. What happened, Calvin?
We went to the Shitlave waterhole. We saw an amazing sighting of a male lion roaring and a female lion with 3 cubs, and they were very playful. We sat there for nearly an hour, and the fun part started when we had to start the engine, and our battery seemed to have given out. So we had to jumpstart our car in front of a couple of lions. But although there were
And a very large crowd of very amused humans.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. That was fun.
We absolutely loved spending time in the south end of Kruger. The game density and the locations are amazing for photography. We hope you enjoyed joining us on our adventure, and we'll see you next time.